What's going on, guys, and happy Monday, late Monday, but we have the Snapchat out. We waited on the trailer to come, and it is here. It has arrived, and so has the Fantastic Four, the First Steps season, and I'm back, Alex. I'm back from an absolute, felt like Ariel grabbing my throat, my voice completely ripped to shreds, man. The most talking I've done in my life, and that's saying something because I'm a professional talker, but yeah, the month of June was crazy. Still not even all the way feeling 1,000% here, but just happy to be back, happy to see my beautiful man Alex. And I can tell, you've been hitting you on a cruise ship or something, man? You looking tan?
I know, usually I have that like red purple Thanos look that everyone jokes about. Oh, he's wearing lipstick and he looks like Thanos. A, I'm not wearing lipstick. B, I got a brutal sunburn. My daughter was at a soccer tournament over the weekend, and I spent a lot of time outside. And what was okay? Can I be honest? My wife was like shaking her head. I mean, everyone on the internet is gonna shake their head too. So I had sunscreen, but it was kids sunscreen, and I put it on my daughter, and I was like, "This is kids sunscreen." Do I put it on? And I was like, "No." Like I said no, as if like in my head, like I'm just gonna man up against the sun, right? And then so I'm, in the middle of the tournament, it's like 2:00 in the afternoon. She's playing. I'm standing there, and I'm thinking to myself, yo, it's like too damn hot. The sun is way too hot. Who made the sun this hot? And I stared at it for a bit until my eyes went blurry, and I just got upset. And then this is what happened. I got a sunburn.
You look like Kim Kardashian. Now you look great. You have like 19 different shades of red and brown put together on you. You look fantastic. No, I love it. I love how like being a man, is like incorporates like certain things, and for whatever reason, I don't know why sunscreen was ever in that bubble, but it's the stupidest thing to ever be like, I don't need it, I'm a man. And it's like, no, you're just frying your body, dude. No, man, I feel like all it takes, like there's things in life where like it happens one time and you're like, all right, never again, right? Like I'm just never gonna do XYZ again. For me, man, I was on a cruise and I got a burn so bad that I was like begging for death. Like just take me now. You can't sleep, right? It happened one time, done. I'm a sunscreen guy now, not an SPF like 100 guy, but I'm like in the 50s.
Yeah, see, mine's not that bad. I'm always a little dark compared to, I don't know what it is. I think it's our camera systems and lighting. We have to one day like have a call where it's just us figuring out how to get these things to light. Like, do I have to turn my lights up? Is that what it is? Do I have to like jack this light? But maybe that's better. I'm not quite as red, right? Now I can't even look at the camera now, but yeah, like it's not that bad. What it was though, honestly, is I'll tell you, when in Canada the sun just bites a little less. Might be surprising to you. I remember when I was in Florida with the kids, and I was like, yo, this sun is brutal. You walked outside and the sun was like attacking you. This is just like I was outside all day like an idiot. You know what I mean? In Florida, I would have been like deceased. Like, it would, like, you know what I mean? It would have completely taken me out. But you know what? I got to tell you though, the summer, especially as a Canadian, like you get so used to being kind of locked up in the wintertime, and yeah, my kids all play hockey and stuff like that, and you get used to the winter. There is something beautiful about summer. Like my boys, we're gonna go fishing at some point, and I don't know, I'm just excited. Yeah,
it was 4th of July over here. So Second Dinner took the I don't know how long they took off, I'll be honest, but they did take a little holiday break. And happy post 4th of July for all you guys out there. It was good over here, man. We went on a little bit of a boat and just hung out, put around. My son got sick on the actual force, so I had to like delay the celebrations a bit, but it's still a good time and always fun, man. But either way, appreciate Dare filling in. You guys talked a good amount, recapped a lot, but we have a lot to recap over here. I mean, we had the whole season. We talked about a little bit of Commander on our kind of roast with Regis, which I think was the last time we were together. And it's funny because now we got a Commander Light coming to Snap now in a new temporary game mode and a bunch of new cards, Alex. So talking about that, breaking all that down over here, what are we breaking down and talking about on your side of the Snapchat?
My side, it's actually relatively straightforward here. We're going to be breaking down the prior season, talking about the cards in Series 5 and 4, going back and looking at our ratings, giving our rankings and etc., and giving overall feedback as to how they landed and whether or not they're worth your pretty penny in Marvel Snap. But Cozy, I'm excited because we had a couple hot takes, and well, we're going to be held accountable.
Yeah, dude, I feel good. I know outside of Kid Omega, that whole fiasco that we couldn't predict, I know where I landed, and I know I liked Merlin, and I know I liked Nightmare, so I'm feeling pretty good about those two. We'll see how it works out, though. It's always fun to hold ourselves accountable. Now, we did look at this season like 2 months back, And yeah, I was definitely hot on some of these cards. You've had your time now to kind of bake and let these marinate a bit more. I think at the time he was a 2-3, but we start with the season pass card. And I say that just the season pass card, not the season pass plus card, because we have a new card coming in it's funny that the views are split on this for whatever reason, because instead of spending $120 a year now to get the season pass cards, you can spend $240 and get now an additional card that's the Series 4 that we believe is added. They didn't touch it on the trailer, but it's been data mined now for a while. So we've got that. And then coming near soon, we have the season pass Ultra plus Ultra with 5 new cards. That'll be by Christmas, I'm sure, in this point. But we've got Mr. Fantastic. First steps, 2/2, Alex. End of turn, give a card in your hand. -1 cost or +2 power. Let's start with the star ratings and then go from there.
I'm gonna go with a firm 4 here. I don't think it has like the 5-star pounding capability. Okay. Like, I just don't think it does. That was a weird sentence. But anyways, you guys know what I mean. I don't think it gets there. I think it's probably like in a Merlin range of like this card's going to be good, but it's not going to be like the Surturs or the Lokis or the, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't hit those thresholds. It feels like a fair, strong, generally applicable 2-drop. One of the challenges I have though is like, bro, like how many good 2-drops are they going to release? Like, I was thinking about this. You have Sam Wilson, Iron Patriot, Merlin, Mr. Fantastic, and that's only like what? I could have kept going. They
took it from like being 3 costs that were like the hot thing to down, and then it went to 4 for a little bit. Now we're back down to 2, and it's been at 2 like ever since. You know, it's funny, but just because something's not like the meta Surtur that releases, which I think there's only a dime a dozen of those, to me, I still think 5-star is a 5-star, and I got to give him a 5-star. I just think it's too good for a 2-cost card. Really, the only con is playing them late, right? But other than that, you're getting a 2-4, 2-6 plus that, or -1 cost on a huge game changer. Thousands of cards, Sarah, and more that can, really benefit from that extra cost. So to me, I just feel like because you're not having to do anything with them, you just slap them down there on turn 2. Feels really solid and just a card that you're going to want to play in a plethora of decks and almost always has good value in the deck you put him in. I love the flexibility about him. This is by far my 5-star card of the month, and I feel like it was designed to be that way. Mr. Pedro here. Funny enough, the art that they did, I feel like Pedro got the worst of it. I don't know if they didn't get his full sign-off on his likeness, but the other ones look like really close, and he looks close. But it's not like exactly like the other. I don't know if you could tell that, but
it's like the Temu version of Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's like slightly Temu version of Pedro. But it's cool though. It's cool to see more MCU-ness into Snap as always. Yeah, so 2/2 guys, this card definitely speaks for itself. Obviously, there's gonna be cards we talk about. All the Fantastic Four, to no surprise, synergize with each other, and so you're gonna have cards that really help each other out. So funny enough, these cards are going to get better as the month goes on too, right? So like that's one thing to take note of is it's going to feel okay, and then it's going to feel even better and better. I believe we'll get to her, but Invisible Woman got a good amount of a nerf. I think at the time when we read her way long ago, it wasn't like an activate one-time thing. It was like kind of all the time or something like that. I don't remember, but still a fine card, but that will play big impact here. Alex, again, with a card like this, super flexible. There's so many things to talk about. Where do you want to start with this?
I just want to start with saying that there's a couple things that hold me back from a 5-star rating. First of all, it's a random card being hit with a random effect. So that's kind of like a double whammy of randomness. It's either +2 power or -1 cost, both of which you take. Like, don't get me wrong, those are great effects. However, this feels like almost like it's like Fastos for your hand. And now it is cheaper, and it's impacting cards that you can't immediately play, whereas Fastos, you have to draw into them, so this has an immediacy, which I do appreciate. But at the same time, first of all, yeah, it is kind of like way better Fastos to some degree. But what I will say, though, is it's not always going to hit your Brood. It's not always going to hit the things that you want to target, right? And even then, if it hits the thing you want to hit, it might not even hit the effect that you want to hit. So that randomness, it kind of pulls me back a little bit. This feels like a very generic, excellent card that you can add on almost any deck. And I feel like Merlin was the same way, where it's like, you know what, if you're someone who's relatively new to the game or you're still working through your collection level, you're not collection complete, Mr. Fantastic is like oh, damn, I'm missing Jeff. Who do I play? I can just play Mr. Fantastic. Oh, I'm missing Surge. I'll play Mr. Fantastic. Actually, Surge is another good 2-drop that came out within the last little while. Talking about 2-drop inflation here. Surge was one I almost didn't mention. But yeah, like honestly, if he feels like a very generic good card that can almost fit anywhere to some degree, but will obviously synergize very well with all the Fantastics that are coming out this month. And you really won't know his true power or all of them until the end of the month, honestly. And that's something you've already touched on.
Yeah, I think you bring up plenty of great points. And I think we had this conversation with Surge. I think that's a great card to have it with. We're like, well, what if it doesn't hit the card you want? And it almost just proved to not matter, right? And I think that's why for him, it's like you have great upside if it hits things like in the right way. Like, no spoiler here, but like, I am going to play a lot of these new cards in Surfer. I think they were just kind of meant to be together. And like, this is a great example. Like, you play this guy in 2 and he can really help you out in the later turns. It can hit, Shaw to build that up. It can hit that Brood, whatever. But then also, if it doesn't, you're just getting pure good value out of him, right? And you can also help mitigate a lot more since it's into turn. You can play down and whittle down that hand size to make sure it does target or give yourself a much better chance to target something. But yeah, to your point, could be cost, could be power. So most of the time you're just, with luckily minimum 0 is not, or minimum 1's not there, so you can get a free play, if it does hit something down. Fastos, you don't know what you're going to draw, when you're going to draw it. This is a bit more dedicated to that too. And it's 2, right? And at my point, if we look at things back in the day that we used to rank high, it's like, I just feel like for me personally, you're getting that value no matter what, whether it's the minus cost or it goes up and you get a 2/8 value out of this guy, right? It just seems solid outside of obviously, if you draw him late, then it's not going to be exactly the best. Then he takes up a spot, but same can go for Surge, and Surge got plenty of love, right? So I just see nothing but good value out of it, and it's just super easy card to get that value out of.
First of all, you mentioning Surfer before me on this podcast, how dare you?
Yep.
Secondly, what I will say is I have a fun thing that I want to do with this card on day 1. And this might sound like cope. I'm still designing the deck. I'm not quite ready. Usually by now I have the deck ready, but like I'm still trying to figure it out. I have this deck I'm calling, unironically, Fantastic Galactus. And if you think about it, G-Man getting +2 power, G-Man getting -1 cost are all very significant. And especially with the -1 cost, because no one's going to be able to anticipate a G-Man hit along those lines on turn 5 or even 4, depending on what happens, right? So I was trying to develop a Galactus Fantastic deck, which I think could be potentially interesting for that surprise factor. And again, I'm still working on the details of it, but like I just think that this card has such a wide applicable play style that you could slide it into some very interesting stuff and get some very interesting effects. And Galactus is somewhere that I'm going to be testing.
How dare they help a Galactus? What kind of world, what kind of multiverse we living in? Yeah, I like it. First of all, good cook, solid cook. I think there's going to be a lot of cooks with this guy. There's going to be a lot of different places that you can go with. Obviously, like you could go as wonky as like Scarlet Spider stuff, or you can go more simplified. Once we get to the other cards, you'll see why I think Surfer's just like a natural fit. Outside of even just Shaw and Brood, I just think it makes a ton of sense with the guy. But he will work across the board in plenty of different decks. So I feel like there's a lot of different angles that you can go with him. And I feel it almost reminds me of like, I don't know, not Iron Patriot, but where it's like, there's so many different angles that we could talk on his specific synergies for a long time. I just think solid card, going to work across the board. Definitely for me, it's an easy, if you want a flexible staple meta card, I think it's going to be Mr. Fantastic.
Yep, no, I absolutely agree. And yeah, we do have a lot to talk about today. And it's funny because like, I feel like we're going to be bringing Mr. Fantastic up a couple times here as we go back and forth because there's so much interwoven synergy between all these cards, right?
Yeah, so it's funny. I don't want to like whip through the cards, but also we kind of need to so that we can try to overlay some of the conversations. I think that's fair. So yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Let's go ahead and bring up our next one here. And this one has a multitude of different options here. We've got Herby. Now, Herby is a 2/3. Each turn this is in play, swap to a new activate ability until this one is used. And this one has stayed about the same since it was data mined. So you've got one where it's going to give 2 of your cards at each other location +1 power for an activate. You're going to have one where the next turn you get +2 energy, Mamma Mia. You're going to have another one where you create a rock here, and it's going to set its power to 4, Alex. And then lastly, you've got double this card's power. So looking at those... but I guess before we dive into those effects, looking those across the board, what do you have Herby in terms of your star rating?
I like this card a lot. And this is one of like the issues of like having like a 5-star rating system where it's like I'm saying this is a 4-star, and not to like, how do I explain this? I'm not sure. I think this could be better than Mr. Fantastic. Like, I actually wonder about it. I think the randomness and the Nico effect of the Herby stuff, like, I think that kind of brings it back a little bit. But then again, you couldn't have a 2/3 that gives you +2 power, because then like what the hell's Jennifer Kale?
Yeah.
So it's like you need the well, you can't fully rely on either one of these, but they're all pretty damn good. Like, I actually think this is a really good card, man.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, this is a banger card. And I once again, just like Mr. Fantastic, I think it's very wide, very applicable to multiple play styles. It's another card that if you're a relatively low collection level player, like, you can add it. But it's another 2-drop too, man. Like, what are we doing with all these 2-drops? What are we supposed to do with all these cards, man?
Yeah, dude.
I like this card though.
Yeah, there's only 4 options it could go in between, so that's a win right there. Obviously, the biggest con is it being activate, right? So you do have a little bit of a thing to work around there outside of when you can play it, but most of the effects you would want to play earlier than that anyway, right? So for me, I feel like, yeah, getting the ultimate prize of the +2 energy is like winner chicken dinner. You have such a huge win advantage at that point, right? And that can happen as early as that next turn. So it's like, that's huge. That's crazy, right? But then you also have the chance just to get a base 2/6, right? Or just a base added on 4. There's so many different just like easy ways to get the value out of this. I think the boomer bust is I like it better for what, MFFS? What do we call that? Mr. Fantastic First Steps, MFFS. That's what we call them. Instead of, I guess people will never get confused with that. We're talking about the less relevant Mr. Fantastic now that we have double ups on some of these cards. But yeah, I think he's great. And for that energy win hit alone, I like it a lot. I'm good with 4. I think that's a solid hit. I think him rotating through it. Yeah, the problem is it will feel bad not getting that energy hit, and like these other ones will be fine. It's like, oh, I got a 2/6 or plus more than that, because there's cards that can feed into this thing, and that's why this thing gets bonkers. Because if you look at it, you're like, oh, 2/6, yeah, nice, but this, it can go so much higher than this, and it can continue to scale up. You have Reed that can even get this going. The 2 cost is the only awkward thing, because once you look at all these cards, it's like, man, you can only play so many at each turn, and when you're going to want to play them. And so that's the only thing that can kind of get in the way. But yeah, it's a banger.
First of all, I thought I heard you say that Herby was an MFFS. And I was like, bro, that's a lot of swearing in abbreviation form all at once. And then like I realized you said something else altogether. You're referring to Mr. Fantastic. I've never been able to keep up with like the lingo. Cozy, you seem so far on top of it all the time.
MFS, that was just made up.
People said Professor X and then Prof X, and then you said Pro X, and then that stuck, which is kind of so that's like one of your big influential moments, saying Pro X all the time. So I take your like short forms very seriously, and that's why I was a little concerned.
I appreciate it. If I die, I'm glad that I have that, Pro X and Snap. That's what I want on my gravestone.
Yeah, but the thing about this card, and the only thing that gives me some pause, first of all, I think it's really good. It is in like the most competitive space in Snap at 2 cost now, right? It was just kind of wild. The only other side, and I thought about this, it almost has like this double slow effect, where you play it, it's an activate, and then you have to wait for it to reveal what. Like, so it's like not only is it an activate, which is slow, but you have to wait for it to reveal something you want to do, which is an additional slow on it, right? So, and it also might be a situation where you're like, well, damn, I have the activate 2 other cards at each power for 1, like with the other location for +1 power. I don't want to use that yet. Or you might get the double this card's power, and you're like, well, damn it, I can't play Kahori yet. Kahori's next turn, or because it's turn 3 and I'm playing Kahori on 4, or why the hell are you playing Kahori anyways? But like, it's the idea of like, you're not going to get them always in the order you want. Yeah. And like, you might roll into, okay, I played it on turn 4, whatever. Then you turn it to turn 5, and it's like +2 energy for turn, like it's the end of the game now. You're like, well, damn it, like what do I do now, right? That's the only thing. Yeah,
I get 100%. I think it's really like go for +2 energy, or not bust, but like that you can use that at any turn to success. But to your point, these other ones like you can't, right? So it's like, activates can be like this is one of the worst cards to get late, because it's just like by the time it gets its use, it's like it's gone, right? It's gonna be too late at that point. But to its point, it's like, yeah, getting +2 energy in any of the latter turns is going to give you such a boost and advantage, especially when you look at some of these cards that these are going to synergize with. So that does give me hesitancy. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how. It's not like we're going to have to see how this one plays out, because we can really well read it. It's more of like we're also going to have to just see how these cards play out as like a unit together, right? That's a big. It's going to be so weird that we have you know, we have synergy between season cards, but we've never had so much direct, like, we're creating an archetype through these cards kind of thing here. But on that note, you know, Herby can work with more than just them, which is nice.
Also, I'm going to call out Disney here. Herby looks like Wally
Jetson.
2.0 FFS.
The Jetsons?
So they need to get called out on this.
Yeah. Oh, Wally from Disney. Yeah, that too. I was thinking the little Jetson bot. Wasn't the Jetsons based in like 2010 or something? And now look, we don't have any of that. No flying cars. We just have.
I don't remember the Jetsons. I remember like the title screen. I know what the Jetsons like title thing song looks
George
like. I don't think I've ever
Jetson.
watched it.
Oh, dude, I used to watch that in Flintstones, man. You never watched Little Flintstones?
I remember the morning cartoons I had were Inspector Gadget into Beast Wars.
Yeah. I mean, these were not exactly our generation's morning cartoons, but they were there. Those are the OGs, man. Bam Bam.
No, they were great, man. I mean, do you know what one aged really poorly? I watched with my kids, I watched the OG Rugrats. Bro, it looks so bad.
Oh,
try to watch it now though. The animation is rough.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm sure, man. I wasn't allowed. I was allowed to watch it, but my parents made sure that they told me Angelica was bad to their parents, rude to their parents. I don't, you know Angelica? Okay, anyway.
I don't remember the details.
Human Torch. This art's fire, by the way. If you watch the video trailer, I like that guy said that this was the hardest one for him. By the way, that artist was sick. He held to like the MCU and stuff, but he said this was the hardest one to get into his style, but it also fit his style really well, and it came out awesome. So either way, I don't know if it was this art that he was talking about, but actually it wasn't. But anyway, 32 Human Torch. He's a 32. End of turn, +1 power. So at the end of the turn, he's always going to get +1 power. Once per game, if your side is full, double this card's power instead. So, Mamma Mia, Alex. Mamma Mia. This is a really good card. This card, I think when we read in Datamine, I was like, oh, it's a cool card. It's going to work with, like, you know, the new Sue and the new, you know, just the other cards coming out this month. And I'm like, dang, this is just a gas surfer card. Like, this is just such a good surfer card on every single level. And then now you can combine that with the other stuff we're about to get. But, like, bro, this was just meant for that deck between Brood, between Surfer powering this thing up and making it all work in one unison. This is like a win con, bro, for Surfer.
Well, first of all, you mentioning Surfer a second time.
No, it's mine. I'm taking it now. It is. But yeah, he's good though. What are we thinking on star rating on this guy though?
This was almost my 5 drop. This was almost my 5, and I think this card might be actually incredible.
Yeah.
The condition might be difficult at times to get that double power up, but even without it, I still think it puts up some fairly legitimate power. I'm leaning 4.5 only because I didn't have the conviction to give it 5. I still see some potential downside on it, but I think that this is a phenomenally strong card in both Silver Surfer and in traditional Zoo.
Yeah. Yeah, across the board. Funny enough, yeah, we're not going to be too far in ratings this month. I had 4.5 for him too. I think when you look at it, it's like, okay, Surfer, he's the win con. So you have that. Like, he's naturally going to work in there. It's just going to fit perfectly. And played on curve, which won't always happen, but played on curve, he's insane value for what he is worth. And then anything that can manipulate his powers even crazier. And then just playing him in a full location, flat out, you're getting some of the best value you can get in the game at a 3-drop. Okay, so you've got that going for you. Yes, you have Zoo, and then we have so many more cards now. Like, if you were just coming back to Snap, maybe you've been gone for like a year, the amount of cards now that feed power into other cards is just like exponentially increased, right? And we've even had OTAs that touch up. There's been so much given to that kind of play style now. That's really, like, a year ago, this guy would not be near as good. Now it's just like a much different game for him. And I agree. Funny enough, I'm glad you brought up Zoo, because Zoo fits in with a lot of these cards and the archetypes as a whole. But yeah, dude, this thing is gas. This can absolutely go crazy and talk about just like the instant Reed Richards synergy. So you've got that, right? Whether it's a cost reduction or a power, this is one of those win-win cards, right? And then to some of the ones that we get to later, yeah, this is up there towards my favorite of the month, especially in play style.
Yeah, I almost gave this 5. One thing I will say is that it works perfectly in Surfer. Just because you get it down, you can leave that location with just Human Torch there. And then on you turn 5 Sarah, turn 6, you can do something like Brood into that location. Or, right, you can try to figure out like how you time it. You'd probably have to fill it first and then Surfer it. This is the only challenge, right? The turn order. because if you Surfer it first and then fill, it'll kind of double up on that Surfer effect, right? However, if you use something like a Brood to fill, you probably want to hit those Broods with the Surfer.
Yep.
And so playing it out and feeling how these lines work is going to be important, because generally speaking, the last card you play is going to be Silver Surfer. However, we also have a lot of these end of turn effects. So it's like, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting.
I agree with this 100%, but I also think Brood's the one you want to go to, but I also think you almost not never want to do that, but most oftentimes you don't, unless you draw super late, because the Brood's already a win con in a lane so many times, right? So this one you just kind of plan out ahead of time, like, all right, I'm going to put, 2 here, another card here, and then you end with Surfer. Surfer goes, pops off, then Surfer's that last bit, brings that lane up all the way, right, with this guy, and then Brood's popping off on the other lane. Like, that's kind of my thought with it. But yeah, if you get him late, you're going to have to try to do an insta-fill kind of thing, but you can set up for him.
The one thing that I was thinking about was, like, can you finish his requirement with Surfer? But I bet you once the card's face down, it's going to double his power. So let's say this is the 3rd card in the lane and you play Surfer as the 4th. It won't wait for Surfer to reveal to then double Human Torch's power. Now, we haven't seen this yet. We don't actually know. But I would imagine the card being face down would cause this to double, and then the Surfer effect would happen. If it was the other way around, where Surfer would reveal and then it would double its power, it'd be huge, but I don't think that's how it mechanically will work.
All right, make sure you just go Surfer, then Absorbing Man. That's been reduced in cost with the with what? Yeah, no, that is a good point for sure. And they probably thought about a lot of this, because now Surfer's getting so many different ways to really go vertical and horizontal quickly, right? So I'm just glad I have a Human Torch that isn't strictly on move. My God. Like, what a fun hero to actually be able to play that's not tied to an archetype that not a lot of people mess around with. I think that's just a win. But yeah, between what you were saying earlier with Zoo, and even like, I think you said it at the opening of the Snapchat, just like even cards that you get so early on, like an Ironheart, it's like, cool. Like, things can work with this very well, and I like the way it kind of works itself out.
Yeah. I will say that also, I think that this has some potential with like Agent Havoc decks. Like the Venom ones is what Agent Venom, I should say. I called it Agent Havoc. Agent Venom, because this could get up to Agent Venom or Bastard to 3/3, and then those cards, those decks often want these after turn effects happening, like Thena and stuff like that. You could also consider a future card we're going to be talking about momentarily to double up on those types of effects. So I feel like there could be a Agent Havoc style like deck with a lot of these fantastic pieces that actually is kind of clutch, and that's one of the places I look forward to most going with this card too.
Absolutely, man. That's why I think, just like, man, between Reed discounting and Surfer and giving power though here too, to go with Galacta, dude, there's a lot of heat with this guy, no pun intended. Moving on, we got Ben Grimm, the Thing, 5/6, end of turn, +2 power once per turn. If your side here is full, destroy an enemy card here with less power. Alex, what are you feeling about this one?
So I actually do think this card's pretty good. It's one of those things where in comparison to some of the other ones, I don't see, like, I feel like the Human Torch is better. I feel like Mr. Fantastic's better. I feel like this might be the weakest of the bunch, despite on any other regular season, this would probably still be a good card. I'm going like the 3.5 range. I think this is probably going to be a legit card. I don't see massive downside in it or anything like that, but I feel like it's perhaps more situational than the others.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's be a 5/10, right? I mean, more often than not. So you got that. You have Herby that can make a rock. You've got like things that kind of like help it. Because my biggest issue is like, all right, you fill a lane out, like you're gonna win that lane most likely. Like, at least with a lot of the way these decks play out. So like destroying a card doesn't mean as much, right? Because like that lane's full, and what ways you want to do that, and look into it. I agree. I think like because there's only so many cards in a deck, like how will he look? There's going to be cards in this family, this first family, that, get cut out. And is he one of them? Does he make up for the other powerful slots? And opposed to the other ones, he's competing now for a much tougher spot in the game, right? In the game within the game, right? Turn order wise. And so that makes me a bit uncomfortable with how you draw him and how it's going to work out. But that being said, he could definitely ramp up pretty big and make some big, kind of game swinging plays, but I'm less gassed about him.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel as well. My first thought was, thank God he's not a 2-drop. So that's going.
It's a win,
I guess. But honestly, like we haven't gotten like many 5-drops lately. This one here feels like it's a pretty interesting design. it feels reminiscent of Spider-Man 2099, right? If I drop to destroy something, that obviously doesn't see play, but this condition feels like it might potentially be better than Spider-Man 2099's. I don't know. I'm all over the place on this one. I can see it being like just a good card, but not like the game shaker that some of these other ones could potentially be.
And they were sure to do two things to make all these cards benefit massively off of either Reed or Sue, and this is another one. Like, you get this guy down to 4, and if he gets hit with that -1 cost, you're like, hell yeah. So like, okay, if Johnny gets hit with the +2 power, that's what you want, right? And if he gets hit with the -1, now you're looking at a 412. So obviously it is much better, and that's why I continue to think Reed, outside of just the first family, is going to just be one of the cards to have. But yeah, you know, I think this guy is going to have a home. I think he's going to be fun to play with, but I think compared to the rest of them, he will probably fall somewhat flat, I guess is the way to say it. But yeah, I think we're both still. What did you give him?
I gave him a 3.5.
Yeah.
You've not given a rating yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3.5 because of Reed's synergy. Outside of that, I'm a little less big on that. Yeah, I'll go first next time. Invisible Woman, Sue Storm, 3/5. She's a 3/5 premium stat line. Alex, activate this turn. Your end of turn abilities happen twice. So I correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like this was not an activate last time when we looked at this.
I'm having a hard time remembering. However, I still think this is really good.
No, it's still very good.
I have so many thoughts about this card. Like, this is the one where I'm just like, question mark, LOL.
It is one of those cards that it's like you're gonna laughably win or not laughably lose, but there's setup that needs to happen with it. Also, yeah, the art. I don't know, her face just...
Bro, this looks like art from Oblivion. Like, what is this?
It scares me, dude. That's a good call, actually. Like 360 Oblivion, like way back in the day Oblivion, like where it's like the round faces, but back then we were like, whoa, look at the graphics.
And they do the thing where it like zooms in.
Yeah, oh my gosh. And the lips were, and something else. But yeah, I think first of all, we could talk about it. Obviously, we talked about this in the past, but high Evo, you know, you do have that going for it. You have a couple other end of turn cards that can work, you know, so you do have some other synergy outside of the first family. This is a much more narrow card by design, though. You do have to look at that. It does open up the landscape for the activates, but it also single-handedly goes crazy in the first family build. Like, it goes wild in that because there's some really good pop-ups with it. But the single activate. I'm looking. Talk while I look here because I have the card I want to find when we talked about this a couple months ago. I feel like they changed it on this.
Wait, so a couple things while Cozy searches here. This has been one of those cards where like I've been really wrestling with myself with in terms of the rating and stuff like that. And first of all, 3.35 stat line is so awesome. It's just so awesome. It feels so low risk, especially in an era where you're getting so many of these end of turn effects. And it wouldn't surprise me if the next couple of seasons we get more end of turn effects. The prior design, if it was different, was probably completely out of control cracked. This one here also being a 3-drop, it gives it space between Reed, it gives it space between Herby, it gives it space between, well, Herby you don't really care about with this card, but it gives it space with that the fact it's not a 2-drop is good because there's so many good 2-drops you want to play. This one being a 3 helps. And even with like high Evo, for instance, okay, this here allows you to go Invisible Woman on 3, and then you can play your Cyclops on 4 pew pew, go into turn 5, and then double pew pew, and then perhaps, if it works like I would expect it, maybe double float the the She-Hulk. I'm trying to think, what's She-Hulk's text say now that I think about it? Is it actually end of turn? Is it an end of turn effect, She-Hulk, or does it just say for every energy? Why can't I remember the text of a card I play so much? It's so funny when you're talking about mechanics. It's so important to actually look at the verbiage.
At the left, yeah. Does it say ended? I don't think it says ended turn. I think it says at the. Well, does it? Yeah. Let's. Well, I'll let you look at that up.
By
the way, she was a 3/4, but I know, right? She was a 3/4, by the way, with the same thing. So she got technically better. This is a wow, you're gonna win that much more card, or like how much? You're right. This is probably the toughest one to rank because like how imperative is she going to be in the deck? I think she's going to be a good card. I think she's definitely going to be a good card. Don't get me wrong. At 3-5. But I don't know. I like her less than Reed and Human Torch by a fair amount. I feel like because of her... Yeah. I feel like because of her win... And the 3-5 stat line makes me nervous. It makes me feel like she's not as... what is she... You saw it with She-Hulk?
I just brought up She-Hulk. I just opened my game. It says costs 1 less for each unspent energy each turn. It's not an end of turn effect.
Yeah,
which is hilarious because I've played She-Hulk probably more than anyone on the planet. I shouldn't say that. There's someone out there who's definitely played more. But I played a lot of She-Hulk, and it took me a second to remember, like, wait a minute, I don't actually think it's a turn effect. So it would not interact with She-Hulk, but it would interact with a bunch of the other stuff that you have in High Evo.
I'm going to go... I think I'm going to go with 3.5.
Ooh.
I'm going to go a little bit lower only because of... I'm not saying that you're not going to have like crazy pop-off with this, but I just feel like given the stat line and given how well this will work and given how those decks are already going to function pretty good, because I'm looking at the other cards, right? It's like you got a Human Torch. I guess we haven't talked about the Fantasticar, though.
Bro,
oh.
You're looking at the wrong cards. You want me to change your mind right now?
Yeah, well, we didn't look at... Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Athena, Havoc. Okay,
Yep.
both end of turn. Doom 2099, end of turn. And that card has been nerfed so many times, and I honestly think it's still a good deck that has probably just fallen out of like the mindset of the player base. You know, people just got over it. They got over Doom 2099. This brings Doom 2099 back hard. And you think about how that end of turn effect is double dipping on the buffing of the bots, right?
Yeah.
It's basically like free limbo for that deck while shutting it down early. I think that this card might be cracked in a Doom 2099 show.
I like that. Okay. Yeah, because I was going more middle of the pack for the Fantastic Four, like that kind of synergy. And even with High Evo a little bit, I'm like, how much is she worth that slot? But yeah, Doom, okay. I can see it more. So what do you give her? You going like 4.5 or something?
You know what? I might go 5 on this. I might go 5.
Okay.
I have concerns. This is an uneasy 5. Like I've had like, oh, I'm 5 in this card, bro. This is more of an uneasy 5. It's probably more of a 4.5, but I'm gonna go balls to the walls and say 5 just for the memes. You know what I mean? I do see this card potentially being awesome. I have a concern that is it like the Wong of this archetype? It's like, bro, that's just greedy. Get that out of the deck. I get that concern, but I don't know, man.
I'm gonna go 3. I'm gonna stay with 3.5. I think I am. I just feel like it's like how much you want her in the deck, how much you're gonna work in these archetypes that already win in different ways, and how much is she needed. I feel like there's gonna be like silly wins with her too. Like I'm not saying she's gonna have some crazy combos because she's a 3.5 now, but she can go way past that in the future because end of turn, that's like, you just said it. They're gonna definitely mess with that as we move forward there. But I like it. We have a little bit of a difference here. I like that.
Yeah. And the reason why I like it too is because if I think about what those Doom 2099 decks look like, is you do like a Zabu into Doom 2099 on 3, and that allows you to start getting those bots out. You play this on 4, you know what I mean? And then and then another bot comes out, and you're already on your game plan. Then you Doom or whatever, and you activate. And then all of a sudden it's like bots. I just think that like there's just a lot. And then what if you use Ben Grimm in that deck, and all of a sudden he fills a location with the bots. Boom! Destroy a card on the other side.
And gains +2 twice.
There.
And gains +2 twice. And the torch gains +1. Okay, all right. I see it. I like it. I want it to happen. I'm wondering if it's more fun than it is good. I think the 3-5, her going from 3-4 to 3-5 is what makes me nervous. You usually see that with cards that perform less than stellar in second dinner's eyes, but we'll have to see. So those are all the cards kind of put together in one unit. Going to work together great, but also moving forward. But we do have the Fantasticar, Alex. The Fantasticar.
I need to get my whiskey out for this conversation.
Season Pass Plus. I've seen people like, who cares? It's the cheapest way to get a card now. It's so cheap because it's easier than getting other cards. But I don't know if that makes it much better. And
one more thing I want to say before you go off Sue Storm there. Not Sue Storm. What the hell's your name? I'm upset with the fact that that's the art we get and Rivals gets the other.
Yeah, dude, right.
Art.
Yeah,
like,
they're saving it for variants, bro. They're waiting for variants. They were like, how can we find her not, like, we got to make her as, also this art makes it look like Sue Storm's in both seats.
Fantasticar is more physically attractive than that image.
Look at that. Yeah, look at that front bumper, bro. I'm already, I'm rock. Okay, so I'm talking about the thing.
GG.
I'm talking about the thing. So Look at the thing in that little front bucket there. He's got a good little view there. Doesn't it look like Johnny Storm's also Sue? Like that's their hair.
I can't tell them apart. I guess he has a flaming fist, right?
Yeah, I don't know about this thing. I feel like this design too. These guys are like math scientists. They could have probably come up with a little bit of a better design. Maybe, I don't know.
Do you think that they like actually hamstring the artist? I don't want to chirp a guy. I don't want to chirp the artist because I obviously have no talent myself. But it's like, did they tell him like, yo, don't make it look that good?
I need you. You're a 10 out of 10. You're a 10 out of 10 artist, but we have you as the base card. I need you to do this left-handed, like if that's okay with you, or like 10 whiskeys in, like, and then they like send it back like it's too good. Make the thing look worse. Make them look smaller. Yeah, who knows? Guys, this is our season pass plus reviewed card. I think the thing that like just kind of tells me what I need to know is that if this does come out in a new season plus whatever, they didn't mention it in the trailer, and to me that means that they're just afraid to do so. So why aren't they mentioning it in the trailer? If it does come out in the past, it truly is like why like just mention it in the trailer. Like you stand on the ground that you're trying to do your thing on, right? Like that to me is. I don't like that practice personally, but maybe it doesn't come out that way. Maybe it doesn't get. This is all data mine. Could not.
Yeah, we really don't know. And actually, it's ironic because you and I waited for the trailer because of something exactly like this. Like we chose to wait for this moment to be like, okay, we need clarification on Fantasticar because there was a data mine recently that suggested that it was going to be applied to the limited time game mode, which looks like that could be the Grand Arena or whatever, right? So did they actually change course? Did they take the feedback from what was going on with Kid Omega and be like, bro, we can't do this. People are going to absolutely go insane, which people are already going insane because they already confirmed they were going to be doing something like this. And then they tried to, I don't know. We don't know. And the fact that it was taken out of, I'm assuming they had something recorded about it and they're like, yo, let's just cut that part. That part about Fantasticar, let's just cut it to give us a little bit of the leeway to decide what we're going to be doing with it. It's up until the last moment. So we really don't know for sure if this is a limited time game mode card, a Series 4 card, or an FU give us money card. We don't know yet.
We do know it's a Series 4, 4/7. Activate, give your end of turn cards +2 power. So, obviously not bad. Last play of the game, you get yourself some big time net gain from this thing, and opposed to 4/7 is not the worst. It could definitely go well above your 4s in average play, especially if you line it up just perfectly. You're gonna have to really line up some of these on the dot here to get Johnny to kick off or whatever, right? I keep calling him Johnny instead of like their superhero names. I'm used to doing that from Rivals, but I don't know. I like this card. I think it's gonna work in the thing. Do you think it's gonna fit in the shell though? That's the ultimate question.
So there's a couple things about this card. First of all, almost all my notes are about like whether or not it's paywalled or not. So this is kind of hilarious because now I don't know what to do. I'm kidding. I have tons of notes. So I think this might actually be a really good card. However, it's a card that really we don't understand the full power of until Sue Storm comes out. Like until we get to the end of the season where we have all of the cards to create the fantastic deck, we don't really know how this archetype's going to shape up. I think that this could potentially be very strong. I think that the 4-drop is very good. And it feels like, again, the way they designed it means that you could kind of play things together, 2, 3, 4, Ben Grimm, whatever. Like you have those lines, right? For that reason, I think this is probably a good card. I can see it in the 3.54 star range. I think that it works well with like even some other stuff that you might not consider off the top. Like I'm trying to remember,
Adam Warlock. It can go with like Adam Warlock. Not like you'd use it with like Red Hulk, but you've got you have cards that can benefit just from the plus power. There is too that new Silver Surfer that's gonna repeat the on reveal if you're winning that location. Like that kind of stuff is really gonna matter as well, and it just works naturally into that. And so. There is a multitude of stuff. Like next season is very much feeding into this still too. The Galactus whole shtick that looks like it's coming out. So yeah, it's gonna have its place. You are correct. We're gonna have to see if it's better than something like a Merlin, whatever. These catch-all cards. Like, does this fit into that better?
What I'm trying to figure out here, and I just grab my phone so I can look at a couple things here. It's like. Dude, there are a lot of end of turn cards. A surprising one. Like we're focusing very much on the Fantastic. By the way, when I opened up my phone, it asked me for a survey question. Has anything frustrated you about Marvel Snap lately? I don't know if you've seen that. but it just popped up on my phone. I wish I didn't click through it. Anyone, you guys in the comments, you would have seen it too, because there's no way it was just sent to me. But
That's awesome.
like I'm checking right now. I believe Hydro Bob is an end of turn card, right? Like there's so many cards that like likely benefit from this, and I don't know. I just think that when you have cards that have this very wide applicable range, I think that like because you can put them anywhere, they're very likely to find a spot where they actually pop up. Yeah, Hydro Bob's an end of turn card. So this would buff Hydro Bob to a 1/6.
Yeah, you have Isan, you have Hydro Bob, not like Black Cat would be used, but you have Black Cat, you got Bakari. Again, these are not going to be used as much. Yeah. Athena, to your point. Sunspot, game plus, end of turn, game +1 power for each unspent energy. That's obviously going to be gas on some of this. That's going to be a great one to double hit with Invisible Woman. Holy crap.
Cyclops.
Oh, man, I feel like I underrated her now. Yeah, obviously all the man, and Adam Warlock's too. Like, if you're winning an Adam Warlock lane, you can really feast into that as well, like, and kind of pop off with it. Havoc, Marvel Boy. Oh, dude, that's right. That's why I was going crazy about Invisible Woman, was also with like Zeus. Like, Marvel Boy is wild with Invisible Woman too. I hate my 3.5. I might go to 4 now. Now that I'm looking at this full list of end of turns, I feel comfortable going to 4. That's fine.
You want me to change it to a 4, Cozy?
Yeah, now that we're looking at, we'd have the whole list pulled up. Yeah, I feel like she's a little bit more flexible than it can be. Although I'm gonna regret this in like a month. Be like, I had it at 3.5.
How can you regret it? I went 5.
Yeah, that's fair.
You have perfect. Like if
I do
it's
have some safety,
high, and like you rose it. If it's low, I look like a clown. Either way, you're safe.
That is fair. So those are like the main ones. Those are the main end of turns that just popped up. But how much, like how many of those do you have down, and how much can you like swing that into? I mean, yeah, you can make this into like it's not even about getting like the 411 power or 413. It's like, what can you do with that given power?
What I find fascinating is what the end of turn looks like. Like, how do you delay Marvel Snap so hard that the game becomes unplayable? Like, you start it with like Thanos and Arishem, and then you have all these activates. So like a 3-minute game turns into 9 minutes of animations going off, because you start with all these animations and then you end with all these animations. And I don't know, I just had that thought, like actually chaining together these activates near the end of the game, if you draw them all, is actually to be kind of weird.
It's like the one thing they keep running into with this, like playing at the same time gameplay loop and fast game. It's like a lot of games benefit off of cool animations and stuff. This one's like, me want to play faster. Don't make me watch Fantasticar fly in the air and give +2 power to all these whatever cards. Yeah, because in the turn ones are typically the ones with all those chain animations here. But what did you give this card? We didn't even give our star rating here.
My star, I did. I said it was. I can see definitely being a 3.5 to 4. I'll land on 4. I do think that this is pretty good. Like, and I think that it's another thing that's, you're gonna go 3. Okay, you know what? I can see. I'm gonna go 3.5. I think. No, I'm gonna stay 4. I'm not gonna let you talk me down.
Okay. You like this season?
I think the season's strong, man. I think they want to make cards that entice people to spend packs and money. And
that's fair.
I don't think they're good. Over the last couple seasons, we've had some good cards. I think the design landscape of the cards we're going to talk about, like on my side, were cool. Like, we had some cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But these feel like they're very synergistic, and they all have, like, I feel like they have places naturally that go into like meta decks now, which like Dormammu didn't and others didn't. Like, they had to kind of build their own archetypes out a little bit. Whereas these cards, they could like, this awesome deck, boom, add this and it pumps. And then you maybe make some modifications, and that's how you min-max it. They have very natural places where they go like now, which makes them, I think, much less risky and raises their floor, quite frankly.
And a bit future-proof at that too. Like, they're able to scale nicely into the future, which is always good. We have 2 other cards, Alex, that we don't know the exact numbers on. We just have what was data mined. We have Moleman 3/3 on reveal. Look at this art. Banish the top card of your deck. Add 2 rocks to your hand. Set their power to the banished card's cost. That's a mouthful.
Howard the Duck going hard here?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it can. This guy's got some potential, man. It's like one of those like meme cards, but this thing could throw out some crazy. Like, you can go with like a greedy deck and make this thing work pretty cool.
Yeah, like you banish Giganto. So you're running a Howard the Duck Giganto deck, which makes perfect sense. And then you
it's a card. I don't know. It's a card's cost though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So like my thought is like maybe you just go with like like a full cheat deck, like Jubilee and whatnot, right? And then it's like this can kind of build into that. So like you're already doing one of those kind of decks.
Mobius and Mobius fixed. It's a Pixie deck. Mobius and Mobius, Pixie, Moleman, easy. Right?
GG.
You got all the lines there. You got Chonky Boys in the deck. If you don't drop Pixie, you Moleman them. Right?
This
see it?
imagine losing a Mole Man. This guy looks like the guy in the Incredibles.
I want to know what his belt is. Like, is he wearing like is his belt like one of those, what are those, like Boy Scout badges?
It looks like nails on there. Dude, oh man, I want an Incredibles season now that we think about it. It's Disney.
Somehow, why for these like Series 4 releases, they had Cobra and they're like, yo, let's make this guy look like a complete dumbass. And then they're like, how do we get someone to look dumber than Cobra? Well, Mole Man, let's give him goggles. Let's give him a Boy Scout belt, a cape for some reason, and make him look like a complete clown.
It's that source material, bro. Mad Thinker, the Mad Thinker. At 1/1, again, these are not hard stats. At the start of each turn, after drawing, +2 power if your hand is full. So we talked about this one. We're like, oh, yeah, Devil Dinosaur, kind of stuff. Like you could kind of, as a 1/1 scaler, like they're getting more of these scale. Like I actually wouldn't be surprised if this was a new 1-cost scaling card, because they've been trying to get some more of these out there with kind of just much harder conditions than the ones that have been out already.
I'm not sure about this card. I would be surprised if it's 1/1. I probably needs to be stronger. Yeah. Maybe. Like, I don't know. We don't know. They didn't show us. Imagine that. Imagine showing us in the trailer. That's quite a crazy concept. But like, I don't know, man. This condition seems like it might be a little too hard. I mean, at least if Ronin gets popular, you have this.
I don't know. +2 power, those. It's like, how fast can you fill your hand, though? And so, you know, yeah.
Yeah, you play this over Nebula, though?
No, that's the thing. It just seems too hard. It seems too hard to get going. I guess you could just go like all in the Agent Coulson and Friends deck, right? Or whatever. Just try to like fill your hand as quickly as possible. You go with, you know, what's that? Helicarrier, Nick Fury. Just try to guess the thing. I'm getting like a 1/5 quickly. 1/2, I think would be, you definitely get the value out of it at that point.
I know where you can use him. He's bullseye fodder.
That's true. Kind of. Oh. All right, that is Mad Thinker. That is Moleman. And these guys are coming in what is going to be Commander kind of Snap. And that is...
Do we even know that? I think they just said Series 4. I don't think they told us how they're being released.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think they could be coming through this. But they've got the Grand Arena. And man, look at these builds. It's kind of cool. I like that they went into like they really played into the theme here. You're going to choose your champion in pre-built decks, so you can go pre-built decks. And each of these champions, Alex, are going to have a kind of a card that works for them, or an ability that works for them, right? So some of the examples that we've had thus far, let me see if I can pull some of these up here. We've got Maximum Carnage. On reveal, banish this to move your champion here. Repeat this. It's on reveal ability, right? So I for one, love this. Council of Reed, on reveal, give an ongoing card in your hand, -1 cost, +1 power after you play it. Repeat this. These are the ones that they showed and teased. And then we have what is going to be Herby's, on reveal, execute all 4 of Herby's abilities here. This is awesome. This is where it's like, God, give us this in a real mode the whole time.
Oh, this is literally War Wally. Look at this guy.
It looks like Beyblades. Beyblades Wally or something.
I've seen Beyblades so many times at like toy stores, and I have no idea what they do. Do people just like spin them and bash? And are they like battle tops?
It's like farming aura as a kid.
Farming aura?
Yeah, as a kid. Yep.
What's aura?
Yeah, see, dude, you're the teacher. You should know these words.
Farming aura. I don't know, man. You're from you're from California, man. So California, you guys are on like the cutting edge of slang. You have to understand. It takes a while to get up here.
The cutting edge. What do you think, dude, about this mode with the champions and like, getting specific cards with it? I like it. I think this is a fresh take.
I think this is great. This is exactly what they needed to do a long time ago. I think they actually cooked here. I like the idea that there's cards that are accessible for players, whether or not they have them unlocked. Huge win. This is a great idea. And this seems like it probably took them months to develop this. And this seemed like someone at Second Dinner is like, hey, I have a great idea for an actual good game mode that will engage with free-to-play players and all players all around. It utilizes our knowledge of things like Magic, Commander stuff, which we've talked about at ad nauseum. I literally just bought a new commander deck, and I don't know, they did it. Like this is a great idea, especially that free to play element. And I just wish that they told us sooner that they were planning something like this, and I hope that it's something that they return to. I just hope it lands. You know what I'm scared about, Cozy? And I shouldn't have this anxiety. I'm gonna take I'm anxious. Because it's like I shouldn't be anxious about this, but I'm like, how are they gonna drop the ball? How are they gonna fumble this? Is it gonna have a ridiculous store? Is it like what are they gonna do to ruin the hype? Like that's what I'm worried about.
What currency?
Have this anxiety, Cozy.
Yeah, what currency is gonna come out? You can't hear me, but what currency is gonna come out? What track is gonna happen to make this thing you pay, you get double the cost, whatever. You know what I hope they do, because Rivals did this with their auto chess mode. They released it and they used it to gauge the interest, and then they're gonna put more time and resources into it, most likely to have it come back as more of a permanent mode. I hope they do that with something like this. It's like, put this out there, see the hype about it. I get not making it, let's say, like a permanent thing right away, and then if it has a ton of hype, then you have a whole foundation to work with where you can really stretch this thing out, and then this is a gas new way to play. But yeah, just don't monetize it to the floor.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. I just hope that they cook, let the game designers cook. Keep the monetization team the hell away from this game mode. Just tell them to get out of the room. Don't even tell them you're releasing it. I hope the monetization team found out about Grand Arena like today when they released the trailer. That would have been perfect. You know what I mean? And they're like, why did you tell me?
Wait.
We have all these currencies planned. It's like, that's why we didn't tell you.
Wait.
That's why we didn't tell you whatever your name is, because you were going to ruin it like you've ruined everything else.
Either way, absolutely pumped about it, Alex. And the season as a whole, I guess a little bit tougher to rank these cards because you like so many of them. Let's start, though, from the... do we start at the best or the worst? Which one? I feel like Mad Thinker...
Let's start at the worst. I like going to the top.
Mad Thinker and Moleman are so tough to rank, too, because we just don't know anything. I almost think we leave them out, but I guess we can try to based on what they are.
Bring up the bottom. I don't even care.
All right. Let's start at the bottom. It's Mad Thinker.
Yeah, Mad Thinker for me as well.
But then is it Moleman?
Yeah.
We just don't know for them. Yeah, it's just too hard to until we get appropriate
we don't
stats.
have their stats.
Yeah. What is the worst Fantasticar coming out?
I don't love it. I'm gonna say I think the Thing is gonna be the worst.
Okay, I'm going Fantasticar.
Really?
Yep.
Fantasticar.
I'm
trying to record these so that we don't. So Fantasticar. That actually surprises me.
Okay.
Because I'm going Fantasticar as well.
Next up, well, no, you went Thing, then Fantasticar, right? So I went Fantasticar, and then am I gonna go the Thing next? Am I gonna do that? Yeah, I am. Yep. So we just flip that.
Yeah. So that's us flipped there. So now we're at number 4, right? So we've got Mad Thinker, Moleman. I've done the Thing, Fantasticar, and my number 4 will be Herby.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Invis or Herby. I'll go Invis.
Okay.
Then Herby.
I would go Mr. Fantastic, number 3.
Okay, I'm gonna go Herby. Where you have that?
Ooh, Herby. That's high. That's high for Herby. Herby love.
Well, it's just one above you.
Yes.
And then I'm going.
But listen, when you only have like 8 cards, 2 of which we don't even have powers for, so really 6. One above's a big deal, Cozy. Are you sure you want to do that?
I'm locking it in, and then I'll finish with Human Torch and Reed as my best.
Damn, so we got a little bit different here. I'm gonna go. I almost want to go Human Torch number 1, but I'm.
Who else would be the Invisible one?
Invisible Woman.
Okay.
I think Invisible Woman might be better. Like I'm thinking about that Dune 2099 deck, and then it's gonna get nerfed, and then Human Torch is better. I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna stick with my instincts. Human Torch 2, Invisible Woman 1. I'm ready to be wrong, but I'm also so ready to be right.
Locked in. Come around here in August, dude. I'll be in China in August.
Really?
Whenever this episode will air, I'm bringing my film equipment.
Factory?
No, I'm doing. I'm casting Marvel Rivals, man. I'm doing their land tournament.
That was a joke, obviously.
It could be.
You're like, yes, actually, I'm going to a Pokemon plush factory.
Yes, working away, starting a new channel. I will bring my equipment there, though. We could film. That'd be fun. Live from China.
But I have to be in China?
Yeah, come on over. Quick trip. It's only 22
I understand.
hours.
We can use the magic of the internet to continue filming.
Yeah, it came out recently, that internet. Yeah. You guys use dial-up there in Canada or what?
Yeah, well, Tim Berners-Lee's working on the internet for us over here. We're doing what we can.
One day at a time.
You know what I just realized? The time zones for us are already so bad. The Chinese time zones got to be worse. Like for us to record,
Either
like,
worse
what do
or
you what am I
somehow
gonna have to
better.
do?
Because I'm like a full day ahead, so it's either worse or somehow like it's like a perfect timing. It works out fantastically. Look at how I ended that, guys. If you want to go ahead and see Alex's side of the Snapchat, we're going to be talking about all of this, but are holding ourselves accountable for the month of June for both Series 5 and 4 and the Snapchat mailbag. Have a great rest of your day and rest of the Monday, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Have a great one. Till the next one, happy snapping.